Welcome, restless dreamer. You've just stepped into the shadows of sleep, where stories whisper and the darkness listens. I'm your guide tonight, your voice in the void, here to lead you gently into nightmares wrapped in lullabies. Before we begin, press like if you're brave enough, and subscribe for more midnight tales that blur the line between sleep and terror. Tell me in the comments, where are you watching from, and what hour has found you? It started on a Tuesday. Liv was scrolling through TikTok late at night, bundled in her blanket burrito, half asleep, half doomed by the algorithm. That's when she saw it. A video of a girl unboxing a creepy little red doll with button eyes, a stitched mouth, and a velvet dress. The girl spoke in a soft whisper. "This is Labubu." She smiles so I don't have to. The camera zoomed into the doll's face, then cut. The next clip showed the girl whispering again, this time looking pale, sweaty, her eyes flicking around like she wasn't alone. "Don't throw her away. Ever." Liv snorted and tossed her phone to the side. Marketing stunt. Some indie horror company probably. But the next day, 3 more creators on her feed posted about their own Labubu dolls. Same tone, same eerily quiet rooms. One even claimed she'd been having the same dream every night. The hashtags were blowing up. Labubu Smile Club. Keep smiling. Dollhouse Dream. Liv did what she always did when things got weird on the internet. She joined in. She clicked the link in someone's bio and ordered the doll. No brand, no receipt. Just a page with the text, "You've been chosen. Prepare to smile." The box came 3 days later. There was no label, just brown cardboard, taped like someone had sealed it in a panic. Inside was the doll. Labubu looked exactly like the videos. Red velvet dress, worn-in fabric. Black thread smile stretching too wide across her pale cloth face. Her arms were jointed but limp, and a faint scent of lavender clung to her. Liv laughed and set her on the shelf across from her bed. That night, the first dream came. She was inside a dollhouse. Every wall was pastel pink, trimmed in white lace. The windows showed nothing but fog. In the center of the living room stood Labubu, much taller now, almost Liv's height. Her smile twitched as she gestured to a mirror on the wall, written in red lipstick across the glass. "Smile or be reset." Liv woke up sweaty, breath caught in her throat. The doll was still on the shelf, but its head was tilted toward her. Over the next few nights, the dream came back. Always the same house, same fog, but each time it lasted longer. Labubu spoke now, not with words, but movements. She'd raise a finger to her sewn lips, tilt her head, and wait. Liv learned the rules quickly. You had to smile, even when scared, especially when scared. One night, she slipped. A door creaked open behind her in the dream, revealing a white void. As she turned, her lips relaxed. Labubu's stitched grin widened unnaturally. Liv screamed, and then she was back in her room, gasping, clutching her pillow. Her jaw ached. In the mirror across the room, written in fog, was a single word: resetting. Liv wasn't alone. The number Labubu Smile Club subreddit had exploded. People shared dream logs, survival tips, theories. Don't stop smiling or the void takes you. Don't throw the doll out. It makes it worse. Someone called the police. They found her with her mouth sewn shut. Some thought it was a shared psychosis. Others believed it was marketing. But the photos started surfacing. Real people, real injuries, stitched smiles, slashed mirrors, red lipstick messages no one remembered writing. Liv tried to warn her roommate Jenna, but Jenna laughed it off, said Liv was too deep into creepypasta rabbit holes. Then Jenna found the doll on her desk one morning. "I didn't order this," she said. Liv swallowed hard. "Don't touch it." But it was too late. 2 nights later, Liv was jolted awake by screaming. Jenna's room. She rushed in and froze. Jenna sat on the bed, trembling, blood on her lips. Her mouth was pulled into a crooked, torn smile, black thread poorly stitched through the corners of her lips. She was trying to speak, but every word hurt. On the desk, Labubu sat upright, her smile somehow wider than before. Liv tried calling 911, but her phone glitched. Static on the screen, the image of the doll flickering in the background. The call never connected. Jenna was hospitalized. The doctors said it was self-inflicted trauma, possibly from a breakdown. They found no tools, no history of mental illness. Liv knew better. She went home and tried to burn the doll. It didn't catch fire. It didn't even heat up. Instead, the smell of lavender filled the room, and on her bathroom mirror, one reset left. She stopped sleeping. Every time she closed her eyes, the dollhouse was waiting, and now it changed. The rooms were shifting, stretching, narrowing. Doors appeared and vanished. Whispers came from the walls. The worst part, the mirrors. Each mirror reflected her smiling back. Even when she wasn't, she saw herself walking halls she hadn't entered, laughing silently with dolls whose mouths clicked open and shut like puppets. And always, Labubu behind her, watching, smiling. Liv tried mailing the doll away. The next morning it was on her pillow. She buried it in the woods. It came back, dirt-streaked but grinning. She smashed it with a hammer. No effect. The mirror that night read, "Now we smile forever." The last dream began differently. Liv was no longer in the living room. She was in the basement. There were mirrors everywhere, and each one showed her doing something different. Crying, laughing, screaming, hiding. Labubu was there too, tall and terrible, head brushing the ceiling. This time she spoke. "You brought me in. You made me trend. Now you live in the house you built." The walls collapsed into darkness. A spotlight appeared overhead, blinding her. A stage. Rows of smiling dolls clapped silently in the seats. She was center stage. A mirror in front of her. And on the mirror, one last smile. Liv tried to scream, but nothing came out. Her lips were already curling upward. She could feel the invisible thread pulling her skin. Pain, heat, pressure. But she smiled. She smiled until her jaw ached, until tears streamed down, until the spotlight burst. And she woke up. Her mouth was untouched. The mirror was clean. The doll was gone. She checked Reddit. The subreddit was gone. The hashtag deleted across all platforms. News articles that once mentioned the Smile Club returned 404 errors. Jenna had been transferred. Her medical records scrubbed. It was as if none of it had happened. But every night, Liv still checked her mirror before bed. She kept lipstick next to it just in case. Because sometimes, in the foggy corners of her dreams, she still hears the whisper, "Keep smiling." The Coldbridge Museum of Oddities had always been an offbeat attraction. Nestled on the edge of the city's historic district, it hosted exhibits of mummified birds, antique surgical tools, and strange taxidermy creations. But nothing drew attention like the new feature. Whispers in Thread, a cursed toys exhibit. It was heavily marketed. Posters featured a dimly lit playroom and one central figure, a doll in a faded red dress with black button eyes and a grotesquely wide-stitched smile. Beneath her image, the text read, "Meet Labubu. She always listens." By opening day, lines wrapped around the block. Marla Grayson, the museum's lead curator, personally escorted the doll to its glass display. It arrived in a custom crate, shipped from a private collector in Romania. The handling instructions were odd. Avoid mirrors. Do not speak to it directly. Do not place the doll near other reflective surfaces. Marla rolled her eyes. Superstition. Inside its sealed case, the doll sat on a velvet pedestal. Its head was tilted just slightly, as if mid-listen. Visitors crowded around, snapping photos, murmuring nervously. Some laughed. Others stared too long. 3 days into the exhibit, an elderly woman named Margaret Stowe came alone. Security footage showed her standing before the Labubu display for nearly 8 minutes. She didn't move. She didn't blink. She whispered something, and then she walked into the janitor's closet and never came out. Security found the door open. Inside, cleaning supplies, a mop, a single black button on the floor, but no Margaret. The footage looped endlessly in the staff room. The police filed a missing persons report, but the case was cold by morning. The museum stayed open. Marla began reviewing the tapes herself. Margaret wasn't alone. Over the next week, 3 more people vanished. All had lingered by the Labubu display. All had the same behavior: stillness, whispering, a glassy stare. The whispering disturbed Marla most. The visitors mouthed words the audio didn't catch, as if speaking directly to the doll. Some smiled faintly. Others looked relieved. She brought in techs to inspect the case. Maybe there was a speaker, some kind of psychological prank embedded in the exhibit, but the results were clear. No wiring, no magnets, no mechanisms. The case was airtight, just a doll, velvet cloth, and silence. Yet people kept whispering. Marla dove into the doll's history. The collector, Emil Kovac, had inherited it from his grandmother. His emails had grown increasingly paranoid before he went silent weeks before shipping the doll. Attached were translated clippings from an 1800s Hungarian village journal. The doll listens to grief. The children spoke to her. Then they slept. Then they smiled. Those who tried to burn her found her again at dawn, smiling wider. There were drawings, crude sketches of the doll appearing in different homes over decades. Always the same red dress. Always with missing persons reported soon after. One passage read, "You do not own Labubu. She chooses where to be." By week 3, the disappearances had doubled. A college student, a father and son, a retired teacher. The footage was the same. They'd whisper to the doll, stare for too long, then walk off calmly, and vanish from all future surveillance frames. No exit, no trace. Security guard Julian, who had grown fond of the late shifts, reported odd phenomena during closing hours. Whispers over the radio. The doll's case fogging from the inside. Once, he swore the doll's head turned an inch toward him. "No one's touching it," he insisted, "but it knows we're watching." That night, Julian didn't return from patrol. Only his walkie was found, still buzzing with faint static, and what sounded like faint giggling. Public panic finally pushed the board to act. Marla stood in front of local reporters the next morning. "Due to unexplained incidents, and for the safety of our guests and staff, the Coldbridge Museum is temporarily closing the Whispers in Thread exhibit effective immediately. The team was to box the doll and send it into long-term storage in a locked sub-basement. Marla personally oversaw the operation. The case was opened with gloved hands. 2 handlers, both masked and cautious, gently lifted the doll into a sealed, padded crate. The air felt colder. Still, before closing the lid, one of the workers whispered without realizing, "You don't have to be alone anymore." He blinked. "What did I just say?" Marla ordered the crate shut. The next morning the crate was empty. The basement was locked. No signs of tampering. Security footage. Static. All cameras facing the storage corridor had glitched for a 4-minute window during the early morning hours. When restored, the crate was already ajar. Inside, only red velvet fibers and a thin line of thread. They checked every room, every floor. Labubu was gone. That day, Marla received an envelope at her apartment. No return address. Inside was a single photo, the museum lobby. That morning, crowded. At the center, blurred but unmistakable, Labubu, sitting on a bench beside a little girl. Both were smiling. Marla dropped the photo. The museum shuttered its doors indefinitely. No media outlet could explain the vanished visitors. No fingerprints, no motives, no evidence. A Reddit post claiming to have seen the doll in a thrift store in Denver went viral, but was quickly taken down. Another claimed she saw it in the background of a TikTok live stream, behind a toy shelf in a California shop. The video vanished hours later. Some said the doll was moving, choosing new listeners, that it fed on attention, on grief, whispered like prayers into cloth ears. Others insisted the exhibit never should have been opened, that it was never just an object, that it was waiting. A month after the museum closed, Marla disappeared. She'd been living alone, increasingly paranoid, refused visitors, stopped answering calls. When officers entered her apartment, they found everything intact. Keys, wallet, dishes in the sink. Only one thing stood out. In the center of the room was a child-sized wooden chair. Sitting on it, a red velvet ribbon. On the wall, scrawled in lipstick, "She always listens." And beside it the mirror was fogged, written in the mist, "Still smiling." Anya's fingers brushed across the coarse fabric of an old quilt as she rummaged through a bin marked "Estate Donations, handle gently," in the back room of the Prague thrift store where she worked. The store had always been a side gig, a quiet place where she could collect inspiration for her mixed media art pieces. She liked the forgotten things: faded books, fractured porcelain, dusty marionettes with cracked wooden eyes. But today felt different. Her hand struck something soft, but cold. She pulled it out slowly, coughing as a small cloud of dust scattered into the filtered sunlight coming through the back window. It was a doll, a strange one. The tag stitched to its faded pink dress read, Labubu. She stared at it, frozen. That name. It rang a faint, dark bell. The doll's body was soft like a plush toy, but its head was molded from a hard, slightly yellowed rubber. The face wore an enormous smile, its glassy amber eyes wide, and expression permanently cheerful. Too cheerful. There was something unnatural about it. Its teeth, for instance. Too many, and too human. Anya brought the Labubu doll back to her apartment studio. Her flat was tucked above a flower shop in Vinaradi, the windows always dusted with pollen and old paint flakes. She set the doll on a shelf between a wind-up monkey and a headless rocking horse. The room felt instantly heavier. She didn't notice. Anya was preparing for her solo art exhibition. Fragments of play. The theme was twisted nostalgia. Dolls with extra limbs, puppet parts stitched together, broken toys reimagined. The Labubu doll was perfect. That night, she photographed it from every angle. But when she reviewed the images, she noticed something strange. In one photo, the doll appeared to be looking directly at the camera. In another, its smile looked just a little wider. She brushed it off as bad lighting. 2 nights later, Anya woke with an itch on her neck. She flicked on the bedside lamp and found 3 thin scratches, trailing from her jawline to her collarbone. She didn't own a pet. Her window was locked. Her fingernails were short. She stared at her reflection in the mirror for a long time, then turned to the Labubu doll sitting on the shelf behind her. It hadn't moved, right? She moved it into her art cabinet and closed the doors. Over coffee, Anya searched Labubu doll online. Most of the hits were urban legends. Cursed European toy line pulled from shelves after a child's disappearance. Mysterious doll found in abandoned Czech TV studio, believed to be haunted. Original prototype rumored to be possessed by something inhuman. She clicked on an old message board post dated 2009. The original Labubu wasn't meant for sale. It was a containment doll built by a puppet maker who lost his daughter. People say he used forbidden methods to bind her soul, but something else entered instead. The post included a grainy photo. Same rubbery smile, same stitched dress, same teeth. Anya tried to focus on her exhibit, but something was wrong. The doll wouldn't stay where she left it. She'd find it lying on her kitchen counter. Once, it was in her bed. One night, she locked it in a shoebox and put it in her hall closet. The next morning, it was sitting on her easel. That day, her best friend Clara came to visit. "Why are you so pale?" Clara asked, hugging her. "And what's with all the bruises?" "I haven't been sleeping well," Anya muttered. Clara noticed the doll. "God, what is that thing?" Anya told her the story, half laughing, pretending not to be scared. Clara didn't laugh. "That thing gives me a horrible feeling. Burn it." Anya forced a smile. "It's just a doll." That night, Anya awoke to a sound. A soft, squeaky laugh. Childlike, but distorted. She grabbed a flashlight and followed the sound to her studio. The light beam landed on the shelf. The Labubu doll was gone. Then the flashlight flickered out. In the dark, she heard the laughter again, closer this time. A sudden sharp click, like a mouth snapping shut. She ran back to bed, heart pounding, locked her door. In the morning she found the doll propped up at the foot of her bed, its head tilted slightly, its smile wider, its eyes almost amused. Clara stayed the night the following weekend. She joked about the doll again, trying to ease the tension. "I swear if it climbs into bed with me, I'm setting the whole place on fire." They drank wine, watched old horror movies, and fell asleep on the couch. In the morning, Anya awoke alone. Clara was gone. Her coat still hung by the door, her bag untouched. Anya called, texted. No answer. She searched the apartment. The studio door was ajar. The Labubu doll was sitting in the middle of the floor, facing the door. Its face stained with something dark. That night, Anya called the police. Clara was officially reported missing. Desperate, Anya reviewed her security camera footage. At 3:12 a.m., the hallway light flickered on. Clara was seen sleepwalking, slowly, toward the studio. A shadow moved behind her. Frame by frame, Anya watched, horrified. as the shadow seemed to pull itself forward, jointless, twitching unnaturally. And then, the door closed. Clara was never seen exiting. Anya vomited into the sink. When she turned around, the Labubu doll was sitting on the couch. She hadn't put it there. Anya decided to destroy the doll. She wrapped it in a towel, took it to the alley behind her building, and poured lighter fluid over it. She struck a match. The flame touched the fabric and fizzled out. She tried again, and again. The doll wouldn't burn. Panicked, she grabbed a hammer and smashed its head. The rubber cracked, but the smile remained. Desperate, she buried it in a metal jar by the riverbank, marked the spot with spray paint, then went home and took sleeping pills. That night, she dreamed of a small theater, a puppet stage, red curtains. The Labubu doll danced, its smile stretching, its arms rising like a marionette. Anya sat in the front row, unable to move. From behind the curtain, a hand, human but stitched at the joints, reached forward. She woke screaming. Anya didn't leave her apartment for 2 days. She didn't eat, just sat on her couch with the curtains drawn. Then she heard a soft sound, a muffled tap, tap, tap. It was coming from her closet. With trembling hands, she opened the door. The metal jar was inside, still sealed, spray paint and all. She hadn't brought it back. She backed away slowly and tripped. Falling, she looked up and saw the doll, no longer smiling. Its mouth was open. Rows of sharp, wet teeth gleamed inside. The exhibit opened 2 days later. Anya didn't show up. The gallery owner assumed she bailed from stress until he opened her studio. He found her art pieces half finished, the room scattered with broken frames and torn canvases. At the center of the floor sat the Labubu doll, still smiling, still waiting. Anya was never found. Weeks later, gallery visitors began reporting strange whispers when standing near the doll. One woman claimed she saw the doll's mouth move. Another said she saw her daughter talking to it, even though she couldn't hear what was being said. The gallery eventually closed that section. The doll was stored in a crate, marked, "Do not open." But sometimes, security guards hear laughter from inside the box, and the tape always unwinds itself. The end.